Have you been thinking about getting this book, Pigology? I'm going to tell you some of the things I like about it, which is a lot, and a couple things that I wasn't crazy about, and give you my official rating at the end of this video. Well, Happy New Year, it's winter, and that means for me that it's a great time to rest and recover and dream and plan and read. I've been trying to keep an eye out for educational and fun books that I can show to my kids so they can learn about farming and homesteading and animals in a really fun way, and Pigology was our first step towards that. So obviously I'm not going to show you every single picture that's in this book, but I'll include some of my own videos and pictures of pigs as we go. But I will show you this one. I mean, this is like, you open the cover and this is what you see. 40 pig butts. I mean, that's just a great way to start a book for kids. But this whole book is really beautifully illustrated. The book is by Daisy Bird and illustrated by Camilla Pintanato. So one big thing that I like about this book is that obviously it's geared towards children, but it's very informative for any adult reader as well. I learned a lot of things looking at this book. There's tons of interesting facts all throughout it. For example, one thing that I didn't realize that it says on page 13 is that pigs are actually resistant to venom, like including snake venom, which to me is really interesting. Another thing I appreciate about this book is that it does approach the topic of mating, but it does it in a really kid-friendly and tactful way, which I think is great. And it also talks a lot about pig terminology. A lot of things that I already knew, like gilts and barrows and bores, but also some new ones. For example, I had no idea that a sounder or a shaunt or a squeaker that were actually terms related to pigs. Another thing that I loved about this book is that it lists many different types of breeds of pigs and shows a size comparison, and kunis are one of those, and that's a type of pig that I'm hoping to have on our homestead. So of course it was fun to see that in the book. It also covers some pig anatomy and biology, and you kind of can see the internal workings of a pig, which is really interesting. And it does also take a page or two of showing different foods that people derive from pigs that are used all around the world. So it's a really neat tool to get kind of a cultural, international picture of how pigs are used as well. Along those lines, not only does it talk about international foods, but it also has a page dedicated to pop culture references that include pigs, including, for example, like Miss Piggy. Along that vein of an international approach and a worldwide cultural approach, there's a page dedicated to different sayings that include pigs from around the world. So one of them in English would be referring to sweating like a pig, but there's ones from all different cultures, which is really interesting. Toward the end, there's some sections dedicated to caring for pigs, both outside and if you keep them as pets. And it wraps up by highlighting a few breeds. There were two things that I wasn't crazy about. The very first page or two refers to pigs in their evolutionary journey of being millions and millions of years old, and I do believe the Genesis account is how creation was formed, so that's not a stance that I hold to and believe, so that's something that I could definitely leave. And then less so, there is two pages dedicated to talking about pigs in relation to the Chinese zodiac, which can still be an interesting tool to learn about other cultures, but definitely not something that our family puts any sort of stock into. So that's kind of like a half knock against the book. So what's my overall rating? I would easily give this book a 4.5 out of 5. I do recommend it. I think it's, charming, beautifully illustrated, very informative. If you end up reading it, tell me what you think in the comments. And if you have any other books like this that you recommend for kids on the homestead, let me know in the comments.
Yuppie.
Thanks. Bye.